Hello everyone, welcome. So today we will be learning from class 12 the chapter of is principle of inheritance and variation. Okay. So now when we talk about inheritance, what is inheritance? Inheritance are those characteristics that we get from our parents. So those which are transferred from parent to the children, so these characteristics are known as this is known as inheritance. And variation means the changes that is taking place during inheritance. Okay, so humans knew from as early as 8000 to 1000 BC that one of the causes of variation was hidden under sexual reproduction. So whenever there is a sexual reproduction, only variation is occurring. Okay, so the wild animals or plants, they were selectively taken and they were bred. Okay, so the selective breeding used to take place so that we get desirable characteristics. Okay, so whatever we get, okay, each and every levels of heredity, so that is known as progeny. So parent to progeny. Okay, the inheritance takes place from parent to progeny. Okay, so now if I talk about proper characteristics, so artificial selection and domestication from ancestral wild cows, we have well-known Indian breeds like Sahiwal cows in Punjab. So there are various those which inheritance we wanted specific characters. Next, coming to Mendel's law of inheritance. So Gregor Mendel, he was the one who did this experiment with garden peas in 1856 to 1863, and he proposed the law of inheritance. So during his investigation, he found various inheritance pattern. It was for the first time that statistical analysis and mathematical logic were applied in biology. So his experiments had a large sampling size. So one of the very important things when you go ahead with this projects are basically the sample size. So he had got a very large sample size. Okay. Also, the confirmation of his inferences from the experiments on successive generation of his test plants proved that these results pointed at general rules of inheritance. So, what was the plant he selected for inheritance was garden pea. And why did he select this plant? It is because it requires very less time to grow and he can get multiple generations within a very limited time. So he took few opposing characteristics. So he took seed shape to be round and wrinkled, color yellow and green, flower color violet and white, pod shape full or constricted, pod color green and yellow, flower position axial and terminal, and stem height tall and dwarf. So he took contrasting characteristics. So Mendel conducted artificial pollination, cross pollination experiments. So he pollinated the desirable characteristics. So he talked about a true breeding line. So what is a true breeding line? True breeding line is one that having undergone continuous self-pollination, it will show a stable trait. So if I get tall tree, then whenever I go for the next progeny, it will be tall trees around. So that is known as true breeding line. Okay. Then next, coming to the inheritance pattern that he had seen. So how did he talk about the inheritance pattern? He talked about the filial progeny. Filial. F stands for filial progeny. So the parent was given as F0, then we had F1 progeny, and then F2 progeny. So that is how we go in the different filial progeny. So it is nothing but the result of a cross which grew them to generate plants. That is known as a filial progeny. Okay, so Mendel took up the parent Once he took up the parent, he then formed the F1 progeny, and this F1 progeny was self-pollinated. Okay, so it was done, and then he got the F2 progeny. Okay, now if we talk about any one particular type, so say he talked about tall and dwarf. So tall, if we talk about the genotype, he took true breeding line, as I told you. So for height, the capital T is capital TT, that is tall, and small tt, that is dwarf. So when I say capital T, so in this we need to know one thing: for every character, one was dominant and other is recessive. So dominant is shown as capital letters and recessive is shown as small letters. Okay, so whenever there is the existence of this heterogeneous, so if we have capital T, they are homozygous, small t homozygous recessive, and this is homozygous dominant, capital T. But capital T, small t is heterozygous. So these gave tall. The structure of the plant was tall. That is why we can say, when we talk about the height, then the tall is the dominant characteristics, whereas small t, dwarf, is the recessive characteristics. So each and every letter of capital T or small t, they are known as the alleles. So if I have capital T, so now what is the factor which is involved? So that is the genes, that is the inheritance. What characteristics is inheritance? That is because of the gene. And each character you have here, they are known as the factors. Okay, so we have one factor as capital T and one factor as small t. So he bred between capital T and small t. This is the F0 progeny. So what is the gamete he got from here? He got capital T, the gamete from here, and from here what gamete he got? Small t. So he would get the gamete as capital T, small t. So when he bred, then what happened? F1 progeny he got as capital T, small t. This showed the plants are tall again. Then in F2 progeny, what he did? He crossed capital T, small t in capital T, small t. So he crossed them. So when he crossed them, so one was male and one is female. So he got capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, and small t. See, capital T, small t. Okay, again small t, capital T, small t. So you write dominant first and then the recessive. Okay, you first write the dominant and then the recessive characteristics. So from here he saw that he got 3 tall trees and 1 dwarf tree. So 3 tall trees and 1 dwarf tree. So from here there are 2 things that we talk about. One is the genotype and one is the phenotype. So genotype is, we talk about the genetic characteristics. Okay, so this is 1:2:1 that he got. And what is the phenotype? That is, the phenotype is how does it look like? That is tall to dwarf. So he got as 3:1. Okay, so that is the inheritance pattern that was being followed. Because here only one characteristics was taken, it is known as monohybrid cross. So as one characteristics is taken, it is monohybrid cross, and the box that we drew from capital T, small t, something like this is known as Punnett square. It is named after a British geneticist, Reginald C. Punnett. So this is a graphical representation that is given to calculate the probability of the offspring that they would get after a cross. So this is a Punnett square. So there will be a drawing of the Punnett square. So we have seen, when we saw that we are getting the genotypic characteristics as 1:2:1. So whenever I say, I can say how is the division taking place? 1:2:1. So totally we have 4 that is happening. So 1/4 of them will be having capital T, capital T. 2/4 will be having capital T, small t, and 1/4 again will have small t, small t. Okay, so that is how it is happening. So I can say, if I have two characteristics, capital T and small t, I can say half of them will have a capital T and there will be half of small t. That I can square it up. So if I square it up, what will happen? I will get half t. Okay, I will get in this format. Okay, I will get in this format, check. So I have written this half t was half t the whole square. So 1/2 capital T plus 1/2 small t you will get into 1/2 capital T plus 1/2 small t. That's very simple. A square is A into A. So then we will get it as 1/4 capital T is got, then 1/2 capital T small t, 1/4 small t. This is the result of the cross that we have. Okay, so whenever to determine a genotype of the F2 progeny, Mendel crossed a tall plant with a dwarf plant, and this is known as test cross. Okay, so based on this, Mendel gave few principles. Okay, few principles of law of inheritance. So first law he said as law of dominance. So in the law of dominance he stated that characteristics are controlled by discrete unit called as factors. So one of the factor is dominant and other is recessive. So each and every characteristics has two factors and one of them is dominant and other is recessive. The next second law is law of segregation. Law of segregation states that the alleles will not blend. So the each and every factors or each and every allele, they will individually be responsible for the inheritance. So they will not be blend together or they are not dependent on each other during their inheritance. So each allele will behave separately. Okay, then we come to something called as incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance is what? There are two characteristics, two factors I told. So whereas in what happens is, say R, capital R stands for red and small r stands for white. What would have happened if I had capital R, small r? According to law of inheritance, I would have got this as red. But what happens is, if I have RR, I have 50%, which is R is showing the characteristics 50%, and small r is also having the characteristics of 50%. So red and white, this R will become pink in color. So that is where I say it is incomplete dominance. So both the factors which is there, they are having a 50% of their characteristics. So they do not, none of them show complete dominance, but both the characteristics will be present in the heterozygous species. So that is how it will look like. So if you see here, red and white, in F1 generation you get all pink, and then when this F1 generation is again crossed, then you get F2 generation, whereas you get one capital R which is red, one small r which is white, whereas two capital R small r heterozygous which is pink in color. So here you have the genotype same as the phenotype, whereas in previous one what did we have? We had the phenotype as 1:2:1, whereas genotype was 3:1. Okay, next, coming to codominance. Codominance is that condition where all the characteristics of that particular, so all the factors of this particular character will coexist. Like if we have in our blood group, we have a blood group of AB. Why? Because the allele IA and IB both exist in a person. So if I talk about the blood groups, if you see in this table, you will say if allele from parent 1 is IA and allele from parent 2 is IA, then AIA. Okay, so there are alleles responsible IA for A, IB dominant for B. Okay, and then if we have small I, then they do not have any specific characteristics of blood, and when I say it as O, so it doesn't have. So I if I have, I will say it is blood group A, or IA is also A. Okay, similarly IB is B, and also I is also B. Existence of IA and IB is AB. Okay, and existence of small I is O. So this is how there is an existence of all the characteristics in that person. Next, coming to when there is a dihybrid cross. Dihybrid crosses, there is an existence of two characteristics. So what are the two characteristics we are taking? We are taking a round, that is a shape, pod shape, and pod color, yellow or green. Round is dominant and wrinkled is recessive, and here yellow is dominant and green is recessive. So when we go ahead in the gamete, what we have from first, R and Y, and from wrinkle, small r, small y. So F1 generation, what we will have? Capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. So I told you, always you will write the capital first and the small next. Okay, so when we go ahead in doing the Punnett square, we will write all the gametes which will be formed out of this 4. So I can have RY, I can have small r capital Y, I can have capital R small y, I can have small r small y. So you saw I get 4 gametes. So I will be taking it and crossing among each other and filling the Punnett square. Okay. And thus I will be able to count the phenotypic ratio is 9:3:3:1. Round and yellow is 9, round and green is 3, wrinkled and yellow is 3, and wrinkled green is 1. So when he studied the dihybrid cross, he found there is a law of independent assortment. That means each characteristics in that particular flower is behaving independent of each other. Next, coming to chromosomal theory of inheritance. In chromosomal theory of inheritance is what? So, any inheritance that is taking place, okay, any communication that is taking place, so it is taking place via the genes. Okay, so Mendel called it as factors. So they are present in the chromosomes. So these chromosomes are the structures which are responsible for the inheritance of characteristics. So Walter Sutton and Theodore Boveri, they noted the behavior of chromosomes was parallel to the behavior of genes using the chromosomal movement to explain Mendel's law. Now we know that there are two factors which are available for each gene. So that is, there are two alleles which are there. So there are two alleles which is there. So here if we see the meiosis and germ cell formation in a cell with 4 chromosomes. So there are 4 chromosomes that you see, yellow, red, orange and green. So they again form a pair, and then after that in mitosis 1 what happens? The spindle fibers are forming, they are pulling towards each other, and these all forms a germ cell. And once forming this germ cell, you can see in anaphase 1, anaphase 2, you can see that how they are differentiating, and then there is a formation of recombination that is taking place. So recombination is happening where the orange goes with red and yellow goes with green. So then you have a formation of the hybrids. Okay. Now this chromosomal theory of inheritance, Sutton and Boveri, they studied on this organism called as Drosophila melanogaster. Okay, again the reason was their short lifespan. The reason of selection was the short lifespan. Okay. So he also studied about the linkage and recombination. So he said if two characteristics, they are very close to each other in a chromosome, they are quite unlikely to be following a recombination. So they might be inherited together, and if they are away from each other, then there is a chance of getting recombination. Okay, so if you see here, there are two crosses, cross A and cross B. So we have yellow white in A, and here the blue one is the wild type that we have. So the female and the male. Okay. So when in the F1 progeny, if you see in this, in the F1 progeny, there is a recombination that is happening. Okay, so we have this recombination in the F1 progeny. Okay, so next in the F2, the parental recombination, we have a characteristics like this. So there is a C, because they are very close to each other. So what happens is, the parental form, we get 98.7%. So a lot many are forming the parental forms, okay, in the males, or say it in the females. Okay, in the males or the females, both this factor are getting inherited together. So there is a very rare chance of it getting recombined, because they are very close to each other. Whereas in cross B, you see these are W and M. They are very away from each other. They are distant from each other. So that is why you get around 62.8% parental and 37.2% parental. So depending on the distance the factors are, they get inherited. If the characteristics are very close to each other in the gene, then they get inherited in a group, in a pack. Otherwise, there is a recombination that is happening. Next is the polygenic inheritance that is taking place. Polygenic inheritance basically is the in a phylogenetic trait. What happens, the phenotypic phenotype which will reflect the contribution of each allele. That is, each allele is having an additive role. So based on that, there are different issues that is there. So we can talk about the skin color, inheritance of skin color, rolling of tongue, and all those things. So then we have the pleiotropy. Pleiotropy is pleiotropy is where the single gene can exhibit multiple phenotypic expressions. That is pleiotropic gene. So one gene is expressing different expressions. So underlying mechanism of pleiotropy in most cases is the effect of the gene on metabolic pathway which contribute towards the different phenotype. An example is the disease phenylketonuria, which occurs in humans. The disease is caused by mutation of a gene that codes for the enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. This manifests itself through phenotypic expression characterized by mental retardedness and reduction in hair and skin pigmentation. Next, we have sex determination. So, we know in human beings, XX, if X is taken, this is a female and XY is a male. So, from mother, one gets the X chromosome, and from the father, one gets the X and Y chromosome. So, a male, if it gets Y chromosome in the progeny, it is a male. If it gets an X chromosome in the progeny, it is a female. Okay. So the disease also which we inherited is also known as sex linked diseases. Okay, so X and Y are known as sex chromosome, and whereas the other 22 chromosomes that we have, that is known as autosomes. Okay, so now in most of the other species, what happens is, so if we talk about some species, like there are two different sex determination mechanism, XO type and XY type. Okay, so so we have gametes either with or without X chromosome, or some gametes with X chromosome and some with Y chromosome. So if they have XY, that is known as male heterogeneity. Male heterogamety. Okay. Now, and the female has got XO, like a female has got different chromosomes, that is known as female heterogamety, like ZW. So a female bird which has ZW. So next, sex determination in human beings is XX or XY, that I talked to you just a bit before. And sex determination in honeybee is how? Sex determination in honeybee is like this: honeybee, an offspring formed from the union of sperm and egg, they as a female, and an unfertilized egg develops into a male drone. Okay, so fertilized will form a female, whereas unfertilized forms the drone with its parthenogenesis. This means that male is having half the number of chromosomes than a female. So if there is a male, then they have only 16 chromosomes, whereas if it is a female, there happens to be a meiosis, and then they do have a 32 chromosomes. Okay, 16 plus 16. Next, so and then there are various mutations. There is some change that is happening in that particular chromosomes. Maybe an addition is there, maybe a deletion is there, maybe a frame shift is there. So all these insertions may be there. So there are various mutations happen, and these mutations can cause diseases like sickle cell anemia. Okay. Next, coming to the pedigree analysis. Pedigree analysis is drawing a pictorial representation of the characteristics and inheritance caused in the family. So when we draw a pedigree, we can say this is a male, a round one is female, this is a sex unspecified, say there is an unborn child and you don't know what is the sex. Affected ones are shaded. Mating is shown as one line, and if it is consanguineous, so if it is within the family, within the relatives, then it is in a double line, and the children are given in order of their birth from left to right. Okay, and if the parent has an affected disease, it's given in this format, and unaffected 5 unaffected as offspring will be given in this format. Okay. Now coming to the Mendelian disorders. There are different Mendelian disorders that is there. So, we can talk about autosomal traits. Okay, autosomal dominant traits. There are two pedigree analysis given here: autosomal dominant trait and autosomal recessive trait. So first, coming to autosomal dominant trait. Autosomal dominant trait means if the individual have even one factor, the dominant factor, then is having the particular disease. Okay, so say the person who has no one here is a carrier, they have the disease. Okay, so here the female you see is having a disease. So this person may be a disease, having some disease. This person may be having maybe a heterozygous or maybe a homozygous. Okay, whereas this male is not having a disease, so obviously the male is small d. Let me say D is I'm giving for the disease. Now when I need to know whether the female is heterozygous or homozygous. So if I have this female, because from this female there is one coming to this female, and this female is not having a disease. Means that if the female is not having a disease, means this particular female is heterozygous. Then only because father is small d, they can have small d, and this can be a female. Okay, so that is because it is an autosomal trait, it is not a sex linked disorder that I am talking about. Okay, next, so I can say the female is heterozygous, and that is why the female is able to get children. 50% of them, some of them are diseased and some of them are not having the disease. Whereas if I talk about the recessive, if I talk about autosomal recessive, okay, so you see in the second progeny we do have people with the disease. So either of them is a carrier, or maybe both are carrier. Okay, so there is a carrier of the disease. So if this person has the disease, then obviously both of them are carriers. Okay, so this person is DD and the female is also DD. So only if this person gets capital D only, they will have a disease, right? So this, because here the recessive is going to be the disease. So only a person has small d will have the disease. Okay, so so autosomal recessive means, the one, if they have small d, will have the disease. Okay, so it is not the dominant factor that I am talking about. So both has to be heterozygous. So when the progeny has small d only, they will have the disease. Okay, fine. So that is how it is occurring. Next, we are talking about some sex-linked disorders like color blindness. So when I talk about color blindness, it is an X-linked. Whenever I say sex-linked disorder, it is X-linked because Y do not carry any characteristics. Next, coming to hemophilia. Hemophilia is again a sex-linked recessive disease which shows its transmission from an unaffected carrier female to the progeny. Sickle cell anemia is an autosomal linked recessive trait. So that is what is happening in sickle cell anemia. Basically there is a conversion that is happening. So CAG is converting to CTG. Okay, so there will be GUC wherein the glutamate will be transferred to valine. Okay, next, phenylketonuria. This is inborn error of metabolism which is also inherited as autosomal recessive trait. We have thalassemia as well. Then there are chromosomal disorders. Chromosomal disorders are basically when the number of chromosomes is changing. So like we have trisomy 21. Trisomy 21 is Down syndrome that we have. We have Klinefelter syndrome which is XXY. Turner syndrome is there, where there is an absence of Y chromosomes, X0. So they have a rudimentary sexual characteristics. Okay, so the females, they do lack some sexual characteristics. So that is Turner syndromes. Whereas Klinefelter syndromes, they are females with male characteristics, because double X Y. Females with male characteristics, that is double X Y. Okay, that is Klinefelter syndrome. So that's it in the chapter. Thank you.